It's the 18th episode of the WWJ Industry Connected Podcast, a monthly podcast devoted to the groundwater industry produced by the National Groundwater Association. I'm your host, Mike Price, and today we're joined by Mike Sanzo of Morris-Shea Bridge Company Incorporated. We discuss fine-tuning geothermal drilling operations, drill time improvement with a GDT 35 rig, efficiency gains with Republic Drill Company's loop loader, and more. And we welcome to the podcast Mike Sanzo, geothermal driller with Morris-Shea Bridge Company Incorporated. Mike, thanks for taking the time to join us. I know you're in the middle of a geo project, had a long day, so thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's a pretty long day out here in Washington and all that, but we got to get it done.
Yes, sir. Well, please introduce yourself to the driller audience at large and how long you've been doing drilling.
Geothermal drilling itself, probably 2 years. Started at Dandelion, Geothermal New York, was there for a little bit, and then went to Pantera Energy, was there for like a year, and then was recently recruited by Michael Cruship at Morris-Shea.
Well, great. We're looking forward to hearing more about how the geo drilling has been going for you in your career. But first, can you rewind a bit and just tell us your driller background leading up to your geo transition?
Yeah, so I started drilling, not even drilling. I was a driller apprentice at my first company, MB Drilling in New Jersey. Joined 2017, learned everything I could from my mentor. Around 2020, 2021, when COVID hit, I went to Bort and really wanted to learn Sonic. Like Sonic technology at the time was like the way of the future. Clean, good recovery rate, everything like that. Fast forward after that, went back to MB and then got into Pantera and then just took off from there.
Pantera. Okay. Yeah. And what led you to look into, so Pantera was the transition into geothermal?
That was really the breaking point of like geothermal. Like, yeah, I did some time at Dandelion, but like Pantera is what really skyrocketed my interest in geothermal. Like the operations manager there, super knowledgeable, and like the whole foundation of like learning everything you can about geothermal from that dude was like it was like door open. Like it opened so many avenues of like understanding like everything. Like, yeah, I already had the environmental and exploration background with mud and rotary and sonic, but like seeing the different aspects of like the geothermal, getting the loop installed, everything like that. Because a borehole's a borehole. It just matters on what you do with the borehole and how you drill it, you know? It was just I saw it on Indeed, like, oh, drilling apprentice. I'm like, all right, whatever. Give it a shot. I'm a computer college dropout. Like I'm 3 years into a computer degree, and I dropped out my fourth year to go be a driller. I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta prove people that stood before me and said, "Oh, I wasn't gonna make it" or anything like that. So that's why I have that drive to just be better and just strive and be better and better and better. And then I think that's why my career has gone from an apprentice to where I'm at now. Like I've just driven to be better and just don't want to. There's a saying, it's like, I don't want to fall. No, I won't use that one. There's a saying where, like, I was told once, work until you no longer have to introduce yourself. And that's what I tell myself every day. I'm like, one day I'm going to make it to where people know that I'm that guy. I'm Mike Sanzo. Oh, that's Mike Sanzo from Morris-Shea. Oh, that's Mike Sanzo from whatever. I'm going to
Hmm.
be that guy one day.
And as you said off air, you've surrounded yourself with knowledgeable people thus far in your career. Um, what led you to have that mindset, and how's that helped you? I mean, clearly it's been game changing for you.
Just like seeing like how these people, like my mentor, he's been doing it since he was 20. He's going to be 57. He's been doing it for a long time. That's 30 plus years, and he's probably one of the best mud guys I've ever met. And then Skylar, just his knowledge of doing it ever since he was 18, and he just filled with like different ways on how to install loops. Then plus like Michael Cruship at Morris-Shea, like his background and like just the geothermal and like all the different aspects and like different equipment we can use, everything. Like it's just not only those people, like there's other people like other drillers I've worked with. You just take all that information in and just become a sponge, and then you just create your own style and your own atmosphere around how to do things, you know? You just everybody is their own person, but the way you're only as good as your last hole, is what my mentor would always say. So if I do good on my last hole, I gotta be better than my on my next hole, and so forth.
Excellent. Well, tell us, where are you learning currently in the geo drilling market? You've been doing it for two and a half.
Roughly two.
You're currently training, you're learning yourself, and you're training crews while you're learning and fine tuning operations. Um, Tell us how that's going.
It's a challenge, like Richard and Steve, the Shays and all that, and Michael Cruise Ship, they're so knowledgeable with everything, like just Michael Cruise Ship with geothermal, Steve with his mechanical knowledge, and Richard with like his safety and like everything on with lithology. Like you just get so much information thrown at you, plus like the way they do their training. Like we spent 2 weeks in Texas at their one facility, just drilling every day, because Texas, sand, clay, everything like that. So like every day we just drilled. We didn't want results. We just wanted to see what we could do with the rigs. And that's all it was.
And it's been helpful, super enlightening to see some of your LinkedIn posts. You're quite open with how things are going on the job sites at times on LinkedIn, and we appreciate that. You've hit some good efficiency with transitioning to the GDT Desco UK rigs, in particular the GDT 35. You shared recently the efficiency gained with the GDT rig. Um, can you enlighten us on your setup and how things have been going and what you used to do, what you're doing now?
Yeah, so my initial like run-in with the GTD, like I've seen it before, I've been around it, but like when I got to Texas and was actually on it, with Danny and Josh from GTD, then Jeff Callow just in the background, just giving his knowledge and everything like that. Like they helped me understand how the rig works, what I can do, everything like that, the capabilities of when I can push it, when I cannot push it, and everything like that. Then Alex and Ryan came out, and their knowledge is like it's like here, and then like Alex and Ryan's like here because like they've been doing it for so long, and they were able to help me fine tune everything down. And like I was averaging like 2.5 hours, 3 hours sometimes. And then they came out there, they showed me some things with my rotation, my feed, my pressure, everything like that that I thought I was doing right, but in the long run it wasn't. Like I was actually starving myself for more hydraulic pressure and like everything like that. And I ended up getting like an hour and 6 minutes on one of these holes. And like it's probably the fastest time I've seen on the job site so far. Since doing that, like me and the other driller, we've been averaging like 2 hours a hole, getting like 2 to 3 holes a day.
Well, you shared in the LinkedIn post uh, getting the GDT 35 dialed in and going from 2.5, 3 hours to reach target depth to an hour and 6 minutes for 360 feet borehole. Clean loop install, no issues. Um, as you dialed in operations, and the improvements came in rig setup, fluid management, and pacing, making all the difference as you state. Um, how should geothermal drillers look at uh, trying to fine tune operations to find the margins, as they say, to make the time count and be as efficient as possible?
So out here in Washington, we've been cutting down our times not only with drilling, but like our setups and everything like that. Like me and the mechanic out here, we've been modifying like our rig a little bit, like where I would mount my hoses on like a setup to where I can just pick up my hoses and move it and track it together. So like it's a clean track, the rig stays in line with the guzzler and everything like that, along with the way we dig our pits. A lot of people use mud tubs. We dig our pits. It's the angle of the pit that we dig. It's just everything's all communication. Like, it's just a driller and a helper on a rig. You don't have other people to help you move and everything like that. It's just two people. So between the setup and then the drilling time, if you count the setup and the drilling time that we have, you average about like 130 on that day, I think it was. But overall, altogether, if we do like a sub 2 hour hole, you're looking at like 150.
You're using the Republic Drill Company's coil tubing unit. Tell us how that has really helped with efficiency.
Oh, that's a game changer, Like typical geothermal loop installs are with a stinger bar or weighted bar on a sand line, or you have like the weighted weights, the weighted weights on a geoloop reel, here, and you're gonna have to stay on hole and install it, Like here with the CTU, I can drill my borehole, trip out, rig down, move, start my next one. The CTU can come in, install the loop, and grout it in the same instance, and then trip out and get ready to install another one.
Yeah, really curious to hear from you on how well the loop loader, the coiled tubing unit operates, and what you've done to level it up to your specific needs.
Yeah, so originally when we had it in Texas, we were pushing it down, getting all the loops in. And normal geothermal, you got to stake your borehole and everything like that. But we found if we mounted a vise and added some other modifications to it, that we can just grout the hole in place while we're down the hole, and everything just solidifies, and there's no floating of the loop, nothing like that. Plus, we also weigh the loop with water like you're supposed to do, everything like that. So I think all the factors plus the pushing of the unit, it's just like overall the whole concept of like you have a machine that's guiding down your loop instead of you using a sand line or weights, where that machine's going to push it to the depth, and not on a sand line you're going to struggle with it, or if your weights break you're going to have to come out and then re-weight it and everything like that. Knowing something's pushing your loop down there, I think it's a good feeling to know. Like the guys that run it for us right now, they're pretty solid and knowledgeable on like how to get things done, and if it's not lining up or if it's not working right, they won't even push it past its limits. We'll come out, we'll re-drill the hole. I think we've only had to re-drill like 3 or 4 holes, but that's because we were drilling with a lot of gravel and everything like that.
Your 8 years of your career thus far, you've been on just about every style rig, drilling method rig. Can you rate the GDT 35 in comparison to the to all of the others that you've ran for on the mud rotary side?
I would put the GT D35 up there with the Shram and the DR. I think it's top three. Just because the rod handling for the helper, super easy compared to the carousel. Like a Shram has a carousel, and then DR, like the manual rod loading and everything like that versus the rod handling on the GTD, super user friendly. Like the helper aspect, like I've been on both sides on both rigs, like all three rigs actually. So like understanding like the helper side, you always want your helper to be the best shape, not hurting himself or anything like that. And I think that the rod handling on the 35 is probably the coolest feature because the helper doesn't have to pull rods out or like hook up rods and then swing rods and screw on rods and everything like that. I think the whole aspect of that's pretty cool and everything like that. Plus the jaws are like Sonic rigs, like you got your top jaw twist and everything like that. So I think braking connections and everything's pretty cool. The centralizers, they're pretty helpful with deviation of holes and everything like that.
What was the learning curve on running it like for you?
The speed that it drills is a lot different than any other rig I've been around and all that. Like the GTD just has that rotation power and that torque and everything like that. It's a fast rig. Like just the whole movement between like rod loading, like it's faster than the Frosty, the slide head, everything. Like overall, I think the efficiency of it and the speed and everything, I think it all balances out compared to like a traditional mud rotary rig. I think if more mud rotary rigs like that were like that, user friendly for the helper and the driller, I think it would be a game changer in that aspect.
Well, just in a short amount of time, in 8 years, you've been on a lot of cool rigs. You get to travel for geo. So, is this what you envisioned your career looking like thus far?
No, honestly, I thought, when I was told you can travel for drilling, that's when I really wanted to do it. So like I've been doing travel drilling since 2020. So just the past 5 years, and everything like that. But like I would never thought I would have gone to the places I've been to, drilled in the mountains that I've drilled and everything like that. Like 2023, I was in St. Thomas, core drilling, like PQ3 core drilling with my mentor. Like I didn't think I would go there, and then like last year I was in Aspen, sonic drilling. Like who would think you would go to these places and just get these boreholes and like these beautiful sites and everything like that? 42 states I've been to, and one country, if you count St. Thomas as a country.
Well, this episode will be dropping in July, and the July issue of Water World Journal focuses on ground source heat pumps. And the cover story is by Nicholas Bosch of GDT Desco UK, who writes the cover story on optimizing geothermal drilling. So, listeners, be sure to check out that article and others in the issue. And Mike, thank you again for taking the time to talk with us, and all the best going forward.
No, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for watching and listening to the WWJ Industry Connected Podcast. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode, so be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the major platforms, so it will be easy to find us. And visit waterworldjournal.com for the latest expert columns, feature articles, videos, and news covering the groundwater industry. So one more time for Mike and I, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.